Today on Inspired Money.
Even with the 26 cousins, I was always the one who had the gumption to just see an opportunity and turn it into something bigger, I had that vision. And the thing is, I was able to draw on that vision because I had a mind that was always drawing all the time, you know what I mean? And my grandmother, I was raised by my great-grandmother. She said, if you can smell it, you can feel it, you can taste it, that vision is yours, So I think that's what I've been blessed with that.
This is episode 79 with four-time Grammy Award-winning Hawaiian slack key guitarist George Kahumoku Jr. Welcome to Inspired Money. My name is Andy Wong, a managing partner at Runnymede Capital Management. Each week we bring you an interesting person to help you get inspired, shift your perspectives on money, and achieve incredible things. From making it to giving it away, Inspired Money means making a difference, creating something bigger than oneself, and maybe, just maybe, making the world a better place. Thank you for joining me. Hey, Inspired Moneymaker, welcome back. If it's your first time listening, welcome. Inspired Money is different from other personal finance podcasts because we don't want to just learn how to live with money. We want to help each other to live richer lives, make a greater impact, and together, we can make the world a better place. Thank you for joining me on this mission. Today we're talking to George Kahumoku Jr., or as many respectfully call him, Uncle George. He's sometimes been called Hawaii's Renaissance man because his resume looks more like what haven't you done rather than what have you done. He's a four-time Grammy Award-winning musician, master of Hawaiian slack key guitar, songwriter, touring performer, teacher, artist, storyteller, and writer, farmer, and entrepreneur. He's a sculptor who earned a Bachelor of Arts degree from Oakland's California College of Arts and Crafts. He's won several statewide and national awards for farming. In 1993, he graduated from Hawaii's State Agricultural Leadership Program. He's a community leader who has worked with children in native language studies, farming, and other programs. He's also taught the Special Motivation Program at Lahainaluna High School. So you get the idea. That's a lot of stuff. On a personal note, George Kahumoku Jr. is one of three musicians who I saw perform in 1996 that started me down the road to wanting to learn how to play Hawaiian music. He's a friend, a teacher, a master storyteller. He's the guy who told me there's no need to have stage fright. You might be up on stage by yourself, but you're never alone. I'm right there with you along with all of my teachers. We're backing you up. I still get a little nervous, but that thought helps me a lot. George is on tour right now with Nathan Aveo and Kavika Kahiapo, two of Hawaii's best musicians. Check out the show notes to see if they're coming to a venue near you. In this episode, you'll learn why being an entrepreneur can make you even a better professional musician, get a glimpse of George's morning routine that starts at 3 a.m., and how Hawaiian values can help you even if you're not Hawaiian and in the modern world. Now let's get inspired with George Kahumoku Jr. Uncle George, welcome to Inspired Money. It's so great to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me here in Chatham, New Jersey.
Well, let's jump right in. What's your earliest childhood memory of money?
Well, I remember that, I grew up with 26 cousins in the same household. And I remember being like 3 years old and above me, a bunk bed with money hanging down. And that was my brother's money hanging down on me. I remember that, to me, money was power. Because my brother always would take us out. He was the older brother. There was 26 of us, yeah. And with that money, man, he was like he bought us ice cream. We could go down to the, regular store and stuff like that. So that was my first encounter with money, that money was power. And I'm only about 3 years old. And he was 1 year older, probably 4 years. Somebody gave him like $1 or something. It was just hanging on and he hid it under his bed. But being a bunk bed, I could see it, So that was my first. Then the next time that money really influenced me when I was about probably 9 years old. And my auntie had lived in naval housing by Hickam Air Force Base. And she she asked me if I could mow her lawn. I said, shoot. And she gave me 50 cents. And the reason for that is if the housing unit, the housing authority mowed the lawn for you, they charge you $2. So all of a sudden I had 50 cents, And then her neighbor asked me, can you mow her lawn for 50 cents? Next thing you knew, I had 400 accounts in the neighbor housing. So that was money.
That's real money.
That's real money. And I had that account for a couple of years. And then by that time, I had all my cousins was working with me too, And those days, we only had those push mowers to go, brrr, the hand kind. But we made enough money so we could actually go out and Sears and Roebuck and buy us a gas run mower and stuff like that. So that's my second encounter with money. Then, money was flowing in. Another encounter with money is that we used to go down to the docks when we moved to Honolulu. And I was really good in gymnastics. And I would do triple somersaults off the lurleen and climb up on the ropes. And people would throw, tourists would throw money. And those days it was real silver dollars, the big silver dollars. We throw in the water in quarters. So with our 26 cousins, we jump in the water and then we just elbow out there would be hundreds of kids in the water trying to get money, but we just elbow out everybody else, And then the next one was when I worked for Lipia Spinders. Now, then I was about 11 years old, and he paid us 10 cents a car, And for your 10 cents, you had to wash the whole car, then whisk broom the whole interior. And he had a used car lot too. And then you had to put one coat of turtle wax. So my goal, every time I went to work with him on a Friday or Saturday, Friday I tried to do at least 10 cars, make $1. And Saturday I tried to do at least 30 cars, make $3. But next door was a place called the Forbidden City. Playing there was Sam Kahumoku Jr. and also Kui Lee. And I was 11, but I could play slacky guitar since I was 9. So here I am doing one of the breaks, playing my slacky guitar. These guys hear me. They invite me in. And I do a song, like something like Opi Moi Moi, by my grandfather's version. It takes me less than 3 minutes. And there's like 1,200 stevedores, constructions work. And they throw money on that stage. And for one 3-minute song, I made $27.10. And that was the turning point. I said, man, the hell with washing cars. I'm going to become a musician. So that was my other encounter with money.
I love that. Today you are, I think, the hardest working Hawaiian musician in the world. You're industrious, and maybe it goes back to because you were young and you were mowing the lawns, and working hard is just normal for you. And you're a 4-time Grammy winner. You're an author. You're a teacher. Like when you were a kid, did you ever imagine that you'd be a 4-time Grammy winner? Did you even watch the Grammy Award?
I didn't even know what that was, in fact, Another thing that I think that helped me also, when my dad worked on Kwajalein, and we talked Bikini Islands. He worked for Fish and Wildlife, but he was also a diesel mechanic. So he'd go out for 2 years and he'd come back. And when he come back, they go out and they catch like 10,000 pounds of fish for Fish and Wildlife. And most of it they donated to, like the hospitals. But he come home with maybe about, maybe 15, 20 fish. I mean, I'm talking of ahi, 60 to 80 pounds. And we didn't have a truck, but he put them in the back of his car in little pakinis, sticking up with the tail. Then we go to all the Filipino camps. And I just watch him, with his knife. He's like a samurai with a knife and cut it all into, the Filipinos, some guy want the head, the tail, or some want the intestines, and some want the bone. And so he'd be over there and just hustling, this fish and making money on the side and just, put it in his pocket. And that was another picture that I have of my dad hustling. So I've always had that hustle inside of me, watching him do that. And so the thing is, for me, every time I see something, it's like an opportunity. Like even with the 26 cousins, I was always the one who had the gumption to just see an opportunity and turn it into something bigger. But I had that vision. And the thing is, I was able to draw on that vision because I had a mind that was always drawing all the time. You know what I mean? And my grandmother, I was raised by my great-grandmother. She said, if you can smell it, you can feel it, you can taste it, that vision is yours, So I think that's what I've been blessed with that.
You had that defining moment when you realized that you could make money in music. It also takes creativity, right? As a musician, because not all musicians are good business people.
Well, actually, in my family, of the 26 of us, I probably was the 11th best musician. I wasn't the best musician. 26 of us, I got my younger brothers better than me. I had cousins way better than me, you know what I mean? But I was the only one who could take it up the next level. I could see the opportunity and turn that vision into money. I was really blessed that way.
Yeah, what is that difference?
I don't know what it is. It's like I see something, somebody thinks it's rubbish. And I see that rubbish, and I see, man, I can make mulch out of this. I see cardboard. I say, well, I can see a way to, take somebody's waste product and turn it into fertilizer, stuff like that. I don't know what it is. It's just being able to see beyond, what's presented in front of you. And the other thing, too, is my mind is always going all the time. And, I watched my great-grandfather, too, felt 6 canoes, was only about, 3-4 years old, and watched him finish it by the time I was 8. So I basically saw him make something out of nothing. I saw him weave nets out of, just, fiber that's on the ground, in the trees or weeds, and then turn that fiber into, nets, and then turn the nets into fish, turn that fish into money, so I've been really blessed to see it that way. But basically, when people talk about the stock market, they're really talking about paper stocks, But I've been in a situation where when I talk about stock market, I actually have real stock, real pigs, real sheep, real goats, real cattle. So that's the thing, the difference. I'm able to translate that into the things that are for real, not only on paper. Yeah.
You talked about that you played your 3 minutes, O Pihi Moe Moe.
Yeah.
Whose version was that?
That's my great-grandfather's version. Actually, I never heard of Leonard Kwan, who wrote that song, the version. But my grandfather, so I called it Grandpa Slack. He was almost a similar kind of a thing, but it has the hammer-ons and the chimes and stuff like that. But it's not the exact one.
When it comes to Hawaiian music, lineage is important, or who taught you, or where did you come from? Can you talk a little bit about how you learned, the time that you learned in, and like how that fit in the culture at that period?
Well, the thing is, we took it for granted, for one thing. I was born into a Hawaiian Slacky family. My great-grandfather, Willie, was one of the original cowboys that got a guitar from the Spanish. He worked in a Waimea. So we were lucky that it was passed down within our family. But not everybody. And we were a musical family. My great-grandfather played, my great-grandmother, my dad, my grandpa, my aunties, uncles, and mostly my cousins. I learned so much from my cousins because, I was like maybe number 11 or 12 in terms of, from ages 0 to 18. And, they were the ones who mentored me. Like, when I watched the grandparents play or my dad or something, it's sort of like I was once removed, so it's hard to, follow. But my cousin, who was older than me, especially my cousin Michael Naihe, he picked it up really good. He was only 2 or 3 years older than me. So then I would actually sit down and he would, break it down for me so I could learn it. It's sort of like, being tutored on a video, nowadays, but it was 1-to-1. And then, of course, I also had siblings younger than me who always wanted to learn. So I'm teaching them the stuff that my elder cousin taught me. And what it's doing by teaching someone younger or someone else, you're actually reinforcing that the learning ability, so you get better and better all the time. So that was the thing. Nowadays you get YouTube, you can just go over and over and watch the thing and slow it down and all that. But we didn't have that. But what we did have was that personal contact with each other, 1-to-1 with each other, and we had the time too. It wasn't like we're rushing around crazy, like this.
I remember sitting in a room with you, and Auntie Nona Beamer turned to you and said, George, when you tell your stories, it's something that really moves her. And she said, you have to record those so that they can be shared for generations to come. With the Hawaiian music, it's a folk tradition, but there is this responsibility to perpetuate, and you're very active in that because you've taught many students, you do scholarships to help students who cannot afford to pay the tuition. Like, how does that fit into your life and a desire to have a greater impact?
Well, the thing is, look at me when I was 11 years old. I was just a young kid washing cars at Lipia Spinders on the corner of Kapiolani and Kalakaua Avenue. And, the fact that someone like Kui Lee actually saw that I had talent, and said, hey, come inside and jam one song. And he just opened up the doors to me because, we jam within our family. It's like no big deal. Nobody gets paid. We're all happy.
Because it's backyard style.
Right, it's backyard. And all of a sudden, he opens his door, and now I got $27.10, like working 1 month washing cars at Lipia Spinda. So all of the thing, this thing just clicks in me. This, man, this is like a gift. You know what I mean? This is like a blessing. I can use this blessing to bless others as well. So when I look at that and I see, and as I grew older, and I see every day. My son started this contest in Kanapali at Hula Grill. Been going for almost 25 years now. That's how I find out where all these kids are. The kids come to the contest, and they come, they compete, and usually, and we get 300-400 kids competing in every category from kindergarten to first grade, second, all the way up to high school. And then that's where we find the best of the best. And they come from Molokai, Lanai, all the way to Maui. We've had even some kids come from Oahu and Big Island to compete. So when we see these kids, and I see the best of the best, and invite them, to come to the farm, and that's what I did with Peter DeAquino, Garrett Probst, all of them, even Max Angel now, Sterling Seaton. They all started out someplace. It basically started off from that contest. And then not only do I teach them the values that have to do with music, ukulele, guitar, like that, I teach them the Hawaiian culture values of planting. I'm a native planter. I teach them hunting, fishing, all of those skills. And now, I'm almost 70 years old. I don't have to go fishing anymore. Sometimes I stop and there's a big 80 pound ahi in my driveway, and a cooler says, "Uncle, for you." You know what I mean? But then the real work begins because now I got to go break that fish down into small little meals just to feed me and Auntie and stuff like that. So it's sort of like a chain reaction, and it's just normal for me because I work with at-risk kids for almost 30, 40, 50 years to translate the gifts of music or farming or whatever into teaching the next generation. It's a no-brainer just mentoring all these young kids, And then not only that, they're hungry. They're hungry for this, you know what I mean? And then and I think as a kupuna now, as an elder, it's my job to help satisfy that hungry, and actually to keep them even more hungry so that they can grow up and teach others and pass the knowledge on down. Before, it was only passed on within the family. It was Auntie Edith Kanako'ole in the 70s. I think it was 74, 75. She took me under her wing and said, Kyoki, if you don't, she called me Kyoki, that's my Hawaiian name for George in Hawaiian. But she said, if we don't share our knowledge with other people, it's going to die, you know what I mean? And then she was really adamant about it. She says, they don't have to be, Hawaiian by blood. They can be, Hawaiian at heart, as long as they have that aloha in them. And that brings me to another thing that I'd like to share, this thing called Ho'oponopono. And I was trained in this by my kupuna was Tutu Kavena Pukui, which is my great-grandmother's first cousin.
Who some people may recognize her name from the Hawaiian to English dictionary. Her
and Albert Pukui. And she taught us this thing called, if you looked at the books, Nana Ikikumu, she wrote these books, which means looks to the source. It talks about Ho'oponopono. 4 concepts, real basically. And one is aloha. You live your life with aloha, and basically it means I love you. And anytime you come up with a conflict, you kind of have to embrace the concept with aloha, whatever it is. The other one is forgiveness. And you ask for forgiveness in whatever you did. And then the third one is being sorry. Just admit you're sorry for what you did and just move on, get back on track. And the fourth one was being thankful that and gracious and gratitude for whatever you got. So in any situation, and I can give an example that I used this recently. On my farm, I have a lot of guys who are homeless, working on my farm, and they helped me pick lilikoi. When I first got to where I live now, I picked about 6,000 pounds of lilikoi, in the wild, and I juiced it and I sowed some, whatever. But I took all the seeds and I started planting, like Johnny Appleseed, but this is Uncle George lilikoi seed. So I planted almost 100 acres all around me, all in the forest, in the gulches, wherever. And, I could walk 15 years ago. It was easy for me to walk up and down those hills when I was in my 40s. Now I'm almost in my 70s. So it's a whole different story. So these guys go up and pick at lilikoi. We harvest about between 400 and 1,500 pounds a week And so they needed gas. So usually, I have my gate and then they stay outside and I go get the gas. But I was lazy, so they say, "Oh, come back." So they backed up their car to where I got my gas. But I opened up the shed where the gas is. But then there's weed whackers, tools, and everything like that. So the next, anyway, I give them the gas. They take off. And then the next day, I come back and I got 3 weed whackers missing and 2 chainsaws missing. So I thought, I got so many Hanai nephews that borrow stuff all the time. So I call around. None of them have anything. I'm going to need all these tools for Sunday. I'm planning on doing cleaning the trail next to the gulch. So anyway, this is on a Saturday. Now Sunday I come back and I look again. Now there's 4 1-gallon gas cans missing besides the. So now I'm really angry, So first thing I think, I'm going to put this on Facebook, and I go off and I start, I started angry. Then I thought, oh man, it flashed to me, ho'oponopono. I cannot do this, I gotta walk the walk, live the talk. So basically, I went back to aloha. So I switched the whole conversation. Said, look, if you took this stuff, I'm so sorry. I'm coming for you, aloha. I basically I love you guys. And how can you do this to me? And then the other was, if I did anything wrong to you, I apologize. And the other one was, and then I'm sorry. That all of this happened, and I just want this to get away. And then what it did is it kind of cut me from the situation. What the Hawaiians call oki, so that I didn't have any of this bitter feeling in myself, and I just let it go. And then I thought, well, thank you for leaving me at least one. I had 1 weed whacker left, and then they also left me. They took 4 gas cans, but I had 2. So I said, at least you left me 2 gas cans. And I left it and I just sent out to the universe. And I thought there was one person, and I mentioned his name because he was the guy who backed up the car. So anyway, I didn't think about it. I just let it go and I forgot about it. 2 weeks later, my neighbor's driving by, He says, I saw that post. Within minutes of posting that, I didn't know that it went viral. It hits one of the boys that mentioned in the video. It hits his mom all the way in Florida. She calls him. He calls me. He says, "Uncle, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I got the 4 gas cans. I'll return it." And that was how fast. Within 20 minutes, the thing was I was getting feedback already. Then I forgot about it. Okay, bring back the gas can when you feel like. But did you take the stuff? No, I didn't take the weed whackers. I didn't take the chainsaws. So I left it at that. I let it go already. I cut the oki myself from the situation. 2 weeks later, my neighbor comes up. "Oh man, I saw that post, but you know what? I got these 2 brand new chainsaws in my garage. I haven't used it in a year. Why don't I loan it to you? You can have it, in fact. And then when any time I need it, I'll come borrow it from you." So I get 2 chainsaws. Then another one of my classmates, he helps me weed whack and stuff. I'm so sorry about that. He went down and bought me like this 2 weed whack stuff. This Moriama is just so powerful. That one you got to wear like chaps and stuff because it'll actually pick up sticks and it will make holes in your glass, your windows and stuff like that. It's so powerful. And he bought me a sickle bar. So it's like he bought me $3,000 worth of equipment. Yeah. Then people started dropping off. I'm not kidding. You know, I only lost these 1 gallon, 4 1-gallon cans. They start dropping off 5-gallon cans of gas on my drive. It gets to be scary. Like I got 20 gallons all just from nowhere. You know, all this is like so. And then finally another guy calls me and says, you know, I bought you a sit-down mower. And I look at it, it's like $15,000. You know, the kind you could operate like a bulldozer operator, go spins. And I have a friend who had one of those, and he cut off his legs. I got afraid of it. You know, it's so powerful. So I lost $2,000 worth of old equipment, but what I got in return was $20,000 of brand new stuff. Now I got to actually, it's making me work hard. Now I got to go build another shed to put the lawnmower in because it's so powerful, you know what I mean? And that kind of thing. So I really think that by living what I preached, like that Ho'oponopono, by living through aloha, living through forgiveness, being sorrowful, being thankful, those 4 things that, you know, and when I think about it, that's how I've lived my whole life. Yeah.
It's amazing to hear these Hawaiian values that are based from ancient times being applied in the 21st century. In
modern day century.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it still works.
And the thing is, you know, sometimes people forget, you know, you get all mad or whatever. I was really mad when I started the Facebook, but by the end of it, I was like at peace.
Coming up, George talks morning routine, setting goals, visualization, and more. But first, it's not all easy when good things come your way.
You know, and then all of a sudden it reached out, and next thing you know, and it's even scary because, you know, what are you going to do with 25 gallon? Where are you going to put it in your house? You're going to put it in your house. It's like a bomb, you know, waiting to happen. So actually, I gave a couple of them away.
The show notes from this episode can be found at inspiredmoney.fm/079. If you're listening in your car or wherever you are, check the show notes if you want to learn more about George or things mentioned in this episode. It's time for the Runnymede Money Tip of the Week. Now, I don't know if you're an entrepreneur trying to build a side hustle or even involved with a nonprofit. Practically no matter what you do, your email list matters. Why? Your email list gives you direct access to people who are interested in your content or whatever it is that you do. When they opt into your list, they give you permission to get back in touch. Permission means that you have control. Having control means that you can make sales. And sales means that you're building loyalty. Now, George Kahumoku Jr. does something that supports this, and it's something that all touring musicians should do. And I also think that it's something that we can all learn from. At every one of his shows, he does a drawing where he gives away several CDs and books. To enter, he asks concertgoers to fill out a form that includes their email address and zip code. I think he also asks how you heard of the show. His database of emails is huge. Whenever he's on tour, he can target those email addresses by zip code. He even goes a step further by using remarketing, which means that if you click on the link in the email, that will lead you to his website and calendar. He can then send Facebook and Google ads to remind you of an upcoming show in your neighborhood up until the concert date. Rather than relying on a promoter of a show to sell tickets, George can help fill a venue by marketing to his email list, supported by Facebook, Instagram, and Google ads. His email list allows him to control his own destiny, and it's his asset. If Google changes its algorithm or its pricing, George owns his list. It's a powerful tool in his arsenal. Think about that. Whether you're a musician or not, think creatively about how you can build your own contact list. Start with the people that you know, but over time, it will grow, and it could be a big help to you when you need it. That's the Runnymede Money Tip of the Week. Inspired Money is brought to you by Runnymede Capital Management. We help you to plan, invest, and worry less. I'd love to hear from you, not by email or voicemail. Do you want to talk for 15 minutes? Go to inspiredmoney.fm/15. That's inspiredmoney.fm/15 to set up a time. I'm happy to talk money, investments, this show, whatever. So go set up a time and let's chat. This is Inspired Money. I'm Andy Wong. And that was really a change in your mindset and how you perceive the situation.
Right.
And then it opened up this opportunity in changing the focus and your feeling about it.
Right.
Then suddenly, like, other people wanted to help you.
Right. And the thing is, it's like, I don't know if it's karma or whatever, but I've been so blessed, you know what I mean, in my whole life. And I think the best thing that each of us can do is use our blessings to bless others, and just keep on going like that, And it just comes back, like they say, in this case, 10, I don't know what is 2,000 over 20,000, came back 100-fold or something like that, So, and that's a good example of Ho'oponopono. The other thing I would like to share too is that was shared by my grandmother. When I was about 6 years old, we rode a donkey down to Miloli'i. And there was an old man, a fisherman, who was in his bed, and my grandmother was a healer. So we brought our taro, our sweet potato from Mauka, because that's what we have, and we took it down to Miloli'i. It was like a 15-mile donkey ride. It took us about 4 hours to get down there. And then we went into this little shack, and there's like a curtain over it, just a piece of canvas. As soon as you go inside, it smelled like death. Like, what's the smell of death? Like a mongoose or a rat or something on the road, and you smell that stink smell. It's not like a skunk, but it's like death, a toad. And then he opens his mouth just to speak, and oh man, because I was only a small kid, I was close to it. I could smell it. It smelled again like death, you know what I mean? So my grandmother's laying her hands over him, and she's praying and all kind of stuff. I figured. So we go home, and then the thing is, she lifted a blanket from his legs, and there's maggots actually climbing out of his toes, in between his toes. And I'm thinking to myself, man, this guy's a dead duck. You know what I mean? He's gone. So we're going home. I'm talking to my tutu, and she's saying, my tutu, what was your prayer? What was your prayer for this man? And tutu says, well, he's a fisherman, so I don't see him as being sick. I see him as being well. And I'm actually going to taste the fish that he's going to bring me. She has this thing called akupalo. It's all the intestines of the opelo. It takes like 200-300 intestines just to make 1 teaspoon, of this dish. And then she said, you're going to bring me dry opelo, and you're going to bring all her favorite, fish, dried and fresh, and akupalo, So I'm thinking to myself, oh man, my tutu's nuts. Because that guy, to me, at 6 years old, he looked like he was dead. Sure enough, 8 weeks later, we hear, hooey, hooey. Here's that fisherman. He's all in his health. He brings us back to his donkey is loaded with dried fish that he caught. And he's bringing, sure enough, he has these 2 coconut bowls full with her favorite akupalo, salted fish, the intestines. So I think the thing I had to learn about this, she said, is if you can see it in your mind, you can taste it, you can smell it, you can use all your senses to kind of visualize and bring this, healing or whatever your quest is, it's yours. So I learned a valuable lesson from my tutu at that time.
Do you think you apply that? Because I know that you're a very creative person. You're very much a business person. So you have a lot of thoughts in your head all the time about different opportunities and different projects and different things that you can do. So you're setting goals. Do you use that? Do you try to envision like what a certain project can turn into?
Well, what I do is every morning, that's one of the reasons I get up early in the morning. I get up usually at 3 in the morning. And doing my vision, I first of all, I clear out my whole mind, and it's a thing I learned from some kupunas too. Or you imagine the whole universe, and you start off with the room you're in. Like for instance, like say this room, you close your eyes, and you imagine white light just filling, and you start from your head, and the white light is going all the way through your body, and just coming out of your eyes, your mouth, every pore and orifice in your body, coming out of your fingertips, and filling the whole room. Then it fills, for us, the island. Imagine filling the island of Maui or whatever. Then filling the whole Pacific Ocean. Then this whole white light filling the earth. And then filling out into the universe as far as you can see, into infinity. That's my meditation every morning. Okay. Then you go half. Imagine just getting a knife and cutting that whole thing in half. So half white, the light is white, and the other half is dark. Then you go half. Then you go half, all the way until that white light is like a dot, and then all of a sudden, it's nothing. All is total darkness. Then what I try to envision for myself is, what am I going to do for the moment? What am I going to do for the hour, for the day, for the week, for the month, for the year? And then the visions start coming. The other thing when I'm doing that is also, right, I have a piece of paper because I gotta remember that good, and I start writing down all this stuff I gotta do. And you will believe it, and I do this every single day. And some of the things, it's like, and I sometimes have my calendar next to me, and I say, I'm going to get like 12 people visiting today. So I'm thinking, what do we need to, we got to go fix fence. We got to go cut grass, this stuff. And they say, well, what do you want to eat? So we have a lot of fish in the freezer. Okay, let's eat the fish. Or we got duck or chicken or, eggs or whatever. So then I start making the menu. We have a lot of taro. It says, well, let's go cook some taro, sweet potato. Then we got cucumbers having. So I'm thinking about all these different things I can make, kimchi, stuff like that. So then, and for the day, then I go for the week, like and I break it down to years and stuff like that. And then I go, all the way to 10, 20 years, actually. I have a vision for up to 20 years, yeah.
Wow. So make sure that you're very intentional for the day, for the week.
For the moment, yeah.
And try to picture out for 10 years.
Yeah. I know it's hard for people to imagine, but, that's how I look at it. And then what brings me into reality, of course, is like, there's all these things. Like I have one goat I call Pepper. And Pepper was a tame goat, or a wild goat that we tamed. My nephew shot his mom hunting. Then all of a sudden, this little baby goat is only like 1 or 2 days old. So we bottle fed him. And that goat will make holes in the outer fence. So besides having my plans, I got to do the plans of this goat. Before I left, I fixed like 20 holes in the fences. And before I left, he made 3 more holes. And what he does is he just finds a little hole and he makes it big. Then all the rest of the herd follows him into the areas in the pasture they're not supposed to be in, and even areas on top of the road. So that's the other thing. You're going to have things. People are going to try to and animals that are going to try to take you away from your vision or deny your vision, and you got to be really intentional, like all these little pukas, I got to fix them. And in fact, when I left, there was still 3 more pukas that I didn't fix, but I think Nancy is on top of them, hopefully.
You mentioned that you're almost 70.
Yes.
You're still working really hard. You're on a 55-day tour on the mainland, playing a lot of cities, a lot of dates. I know back home you sell guava jam. You're running a weekly slack key show. What do you want to achieve in the next 10 years? Like, what is your vision?
Well, for right now, my vision for right now is to pass this knowledge that I've gained, knowledge of my kupuna. Little things about planting taro. There's all these different methods I have of planting taro, and also the planting methods that I've used to be sustainable on our farm. So I want to teach you. There's this whole direction I want to go with bees. We had beehives for almost 13, 14 years. And 2 years ago, we had this beetle that came and wiped out our bees. And I saw the production, I'm not kidding, of our animals go down to almost 1/3. Before we used to have harvest like 5,000 pounds of guava a week. Now we're down to like, maybe 100 pounds or something.
So you need the bees for the pollination?
Right, the pollination. So I'm definitely, I'm joining this group called Pure Hive, and we're trying to, initiate bees, not only in Hawaii, but all over the world. And, the thing that I never did do before is try to grow superfood for bees. And, I always grew, I grew tomatoes, whatever, but I grew alfalfa. It had 6,000 acres of alfalfa, but not for bees. I was growing it for cattle. But now my intent is to grow all of this superfood for bees so we can increase the production in agriculture for cucumbers, or tomatoes, everything else, even a bitter melon, stuff like that, anything, the our lilikoi, our guava. So I'm joining this Pure Hive, and I'm trying to promote bees. That's one of my, and I hope to do it within the next 2 years. They donated 10 hives to me, but I hope to increase those hives to at least 200 hives on our farm by growing superfood. And I used to get about 60, 90 pounds at the most per hive. We had about 25 hives. But now they say we can get 300 to 600 pounds of honey from these. And I thought it was impossible. But, I did a Google search, and this guy's in Saskatchewan who is actually getting 300 to 600 pounds of, and they only got a 3-month window to get out of the hives. And same thing like in Colorado. Yeah, the secret is they're in the middle of these alfalfa patches and stuff like that. So when I go home, that's going to be my whole thing, trying to grow superfood for the bees. One of the things. Besides, the other thing I want to do is, write books on the native indigenous ways of planting, plants like, the monocrop way been taught by Monsanto, all, acres and acres of just one corn, soybeans, whatever it is, canola oil. But in the indigenous way that I plant, we have 200 varieties of fruits and vegetables on our farm. We got 80 varieties of taro, 35 varieties of sweet potato, 45 varieties of citrus. It goes on and on. But they're interplanted along the mint and the grasses and the legumes. So I want to be able to teach the indigenous ways of planting and get that recorded and make sure that the next generation can learn about that. And not many people know how to incorporate growing all of these plants and animals for food into incorporating animals. I've been able to do that most of my life, incorporating raising cattle, pigs, goats, and sheep. Of course, there's a problem. Like I said, you ever get a hole in your fence and the whole thing is compromised. So, in Kona, I didn't have that problem because most of our fences were stone wall. So, the animal would have to compromise the stone wall. But over here, we got just regular fencing. And where I live, there's a lot of salt air, so the fences get rusty real quick. Yeah.
I've been lucky to visit your farm at least a couple times. And you mentioned to me that the farm really plays an important role in your success as a musician. Can you talk about that?
Well, the thing is, a lot of times we sing songs about, the flowers, the plants. And when you farm, it actually gives you some kind of grounding where you come from, and by touching the land, and you can look from a place, you can see the ocean, you can see the sky. So when you sing the songs, or when we do the music, you're actually reconnecting with the earth, with the sky, and with the ocean. So I think that connection is really important, for us, and not only connection to the earth, the sky, and the ocean, but also to connection with each other. And that's why I think people, when they come to visit our farm, they feel like we're the real deal. They feel like, we're eating fruits and vegetables that we just picked, that we've been growing. It's not something that you went down to the store, went to 3 or 4 hands, traveled for thousands of miles to get there. It's just, we just went out, picked it, and now we're eating it, or we're drinking the tea, or we're eating the fruit, the bananas or the citrus or the sweet potato or the breadfruit or, the taro. So I think that's important. And in Hawaiian culture, I think the music is only about 10 to 15% of our culture. At least 60% has to do with eating, and then another 10 or 15% has to do with the hula and the dance and all of that. So, but definitely the eating part. So, that's why we need to, pay attention to the eating part of our culture as well.
Well, as you go perform for these audiences all over the world, how many people have visited your farm?
I think I'd say at least, I've got these little books that are filled up. I've got about maybe 40, 50 books, and each of them can hold a couple thousand inside. So maybe 50 to 100,000 people have visited this farm on Maui. We've been there 15 years, yeah. And it's some days I used to do this 7 days a week, until 2 years ago, I had to go to marriage counseling. And then now, through marriage counseling, Nancy negotiated, so the counts are going to probably come down because now we can do it only on Fridays and Sundays from 7 a.m. to 12 noon. But before I used to just do it 7 days a week, all day long, whoever came until I had to go play a gig or whatever.
It's a good lesson too. You can't open your house to the world 7 days a week. You need a little time.
Right.
For private.
Right. And thanks to Nancy, because she, for me, I don't really give a rip, but she's actually, adds another dimension that, we do have another life that doesn't have people chucking to your whole, The thing is, we have a lot of bathrooms. We have 3-4 bathrooms. So I think, that's okay. Once attached to the garage and all that.
Uncle George, I'd like to ask all the Inspired Money guests, how do you define success?
For me, I define success on how happy you are. It has nothing to do with money. Money will help you get there, certainly. But, on a Richter scale, you got to look at, how happy are you with the situation that you're in. And if you're happy, then you're successful. I don't care even if you got no money in your bank, and you can be a homeless guy and with no problems in the world, and you're happy with doing whatever it is, then to me you're successful. No,
it's a good simple way to define, because there are many people with money who are miserable,
right? And
then there are people in developing countries who have very little, but they live a very happy life.
Yeah, so I'm learning too. Nancy got us this Netflix thing called Marie Kondo. So it says if it doesn't bring joy to you, then you gotta say thank you and get rid of it and stuff like that. So, I just started actually. In fact, if you look at my baggage now, all of my underwear and my socks are folded in kondomori way, And I'm trying to bring that more into my life too, because. Being a farmer and stuff, you got so much junks. I mean, you got tools and stuff like that. And my garage, I can't even park my truck in anymore. I've never been able to. I got my watering machines. I got all the stuff for castrating all the animals and servicing this and feed and all like that. And plus, we got all the workshop materials. We have tents enough for 2,000 people, and I got the woks and all the pots and pans and all like that. So I'm trying to, look back at all the things that we have in our garage and see what brings us joy and get rid of the rest of the stuff that's
Yeah, we can all benefit by just keeping what gives us joy. Well, thank you for sharing your story. You're definitely Hawaii's Renaissance man. Can you tell the Inspired Money listener where they can find out more about you, where they can find information about your weekly Slack Keys show on Maui, and your tour dates while you're on the road?
Okay, you can go to my website, www.kahumoku.com. That's www.kahumoku.com. Or if you're on Maui, you can go to slackeyshow.com. That's SLACKKKEY show.com. Okay.
I'll put that in the show notes. Thank you, Uncle George. Always great to see you and sit down and talk story.
Thank you. It's great. This is great talking to you too.
So what was your favorite Inspired Money moment? I love that George has a creative mind to see opportunities and the gumption to go do something. That's a powerful combination that we can all learn from and emulate. Second, I like his chain reaction of helping the next generation. And by teaching or mentoring, you actually hone your own skills. Finally, the ancient Hawaiian ho'oponopono, using aloha, forgiveness, being sorry, and gratitude. It's an interesting way to use ancient values in the 21st century. If you had a different favorite Inspired Money moment and takeaway, let me know by going to inspiredmoney.fm/Facebook. Let's continue the conversation there. I appreciate you joining me and being a part of the mission to make our money more inspired. If you got inspired today, please open your podcast player right now and leave a review. I'd really appreciate it. The music you're listening to right now and all other music on today's show is by the amazing Jim Kimo West. Have an inspired week. Do something that scares you, because that's where the magic happens.